There comes a point in your journey when you realize, maybe for the first time, improvement isn't the same as growth. You've read the books, taken the feedback, worked on your weaknesses. You've tried to become more balanced, more capable in every way possible. And yet, somehow it still feels like you're running in circles. If that feels familiar, this episode is for you. Let me tell you about Julian. Julian was the kind of person everyone trusted to get things done. Smart, steady, meticulous. If something slipped through the cracks, he'd catch it. If a project needed saving, he'd stay late. People called him dependable, and he wore it like a badge of honor. But beneath that reputation was a quiet frustration he couldn't name. He worked harder than most, yet others seemed to move faster, climb higher, shine brighter, with half the effort. He used to wonder, what do they have that I don't? That was Julian's ordinary world. A life built on fixing, perfecting, proving. He was proud of how versatile he'd become, but the truth was he was stretched thin. Good at many things, but exceptional at none. Then came the call to adventure. During a quarterly review, his manager said, "Julian, you're reliable. You deliver, but if I'm honest, I'm not sure what your edge is." The word hit him like static. Edge. He didn't have one. He'd spent years sanding them all down. He tried to shake it off, but the question followed him home, echoing as he brushed his teeth, as he checked emails at midnight. What's my edge? At first he resisted. That's the refusal of the call. His mind argued, you're doing fine. Being well-rounded is safe. Being capable is enough. But deep down, something in him was tired of fine. One night, scrolling through articles he half believed in, a line stopped him mid-scroll. If you spend your life trying to be good at everything, you'll never be brilliant at anything. He reread it 3 times. That was his mentor moment. A single sentence that cracked open an old belief. For the first time, he wondered, what if success isn't about being complete, but about being concentrated? The next morning, he wrote in his journal, "What do I do best when no one's telling me how to do it?" That was him crossing the threshold. He began paying attention to what came easily, to what energized him, to the moments when time seemed to vanish. He realized he came alive when building ideas, connecting dots, creating strategies out of chaos. But once the work got too technical, too detailed, his energy drained fast. That realization scared him. It meant admitting that the things he'd spent years forcing himself to be good at weren't his zone of brilliance. The tests came quickly. He tried focusing more on strategic work, delegating details to teammates. But every time he did, guilt crept in. You're supposed to be good at everything. You're being lazy, you're letting people down. He pushed through anyway, holding onto a quiet truth he was starting to believe. Maybe excellence requires boundaries. Then came his biggest test, the approach to the inmost cave. He was asked to lead a client pitch. In the past, he'd bury himself in spreadsheets and over-prepare to cover every weakness. But this time, he tried something different. He didn't try to know everything. He focused on what he knew best, shaping the vision, telling the story, connecting the message to the people in front of him. When the day came, his heart pounded as he stood there, eyes scanning the room. His mind whispered, "Don't mess this up. Don't forget the numbers." But something steadier answered back, "You know what matters. Speak from there." He did. And the room went still, not because of perfection, but because of presence. That was his ordeal. And when it was over, his manager looked at him and said, "That's your edge, Julian." The reward wasn't just the praise, it was clarity. From that day, he stopped trying to fill every gap. Instead, he built around his strengths. He partnered with people who loved the details. He designed his role around strategy and communication. That was his road back. There were moments when old habits tugged at him, when he caught himself overcorrecting, saying yes to everything again, but he noticed it faster now. And the final test came quietly. A new project, high stakes, high pressure, the kind that once would have sent him spiraling. But this time, he didn't scramble to be everything. He stayed in his lane, trusted his team, led with confidence. That was his resurrection. It wasn't loud or dramatic. It was steady, certain. The kind of peace that comes when you finally stop pretending to be someone you're not. And that was his elixir. He realized that real success doesn't come from being flawless. It comes from being focused. So maybe this is where you come in. If you've been exhausting yourself trying to fix everything that's wrong with you, maybe the problem isn't your weaknesses. Maybe it's that you've been standing too far from your strengths. Maybe what you need isn't another improvement plan, but permission to stop fixing and start focusing. Because the people who rise the fastest aren't the most well-rounded. They're the ones who finally decide what their edge is and dare to own it.